Welcome back to the show. Let's get into the world of film. My guest on the show today, Darone Okolie, an actor, athlete, and musician, best known for recurring as Sal Dominguez on All American and Larry Johnson on the Emmy-winning HBO series Win in Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. He also has appeared on numerous hit television shows like Bob Hearts, Abishola. Now, he is on a mission to bridge Hollywood and Nollywood, creating a pathway for Nigerian stories, to gain global recognition. And right here in the studio with me to share his view on, uniting our worlds, Darone, did I say that right? And Kem Okolie. Hi.
Now?
Day, what's going?
Yeah, what's good, man?
I'm fantastic. So bridging these two worlds, let me hear it from you. What does that mean to you?
I know it's gonna be tough, right? But we gotta come together and collab, I'm African American, born in the States, and I watch and see what we doing in Hollywood. Now you guys are doing some great things. I see Netflix is coming over here and they're working and they're giving you all the exposure, but I think that we can take it to a whole nother level. The stories that you all tell, we tell as people, man, is amazing. So I know what's going on. I see what Tyler Perry doing. I see what the artists are doing. We got to bring this together. I told some actors in Nollywood the other day that that some of the major artists, Afrobeat artists, should come back and do some of the films. It can push the exposure of the movies, putting the music and the movies together. That collaboration can take it so far. We have to do it, man. It can help so many people.
I couldn't agree more, but again, my major thing would be why. Nollywood on its own is an industry. Hollywood is also great. And I know of a lot of people that have gone over, to LA. There's so many people who have the story of, I went over to LA. I tried to stay there for some time to get in the industry. It didn't really work out. And I just came back here because it's really saturated.
Yeah. But listen to what you said. You said they went over to LA. Yeah. I'm trying to get people to come over here. One, so they can come to their roots, understand where they come from, and also see the stories and everything that's going on over here. From an actor perspective, I've talked to actors, some of them not even getting paid enough. And sometimes when you're doing this craft, and I heard you spoke on theater, right? Theater is good, but once you get older, theater don't pay enough to pay the bills. As much as you love it, it just don't pay enough to continue to take care of your family and love the art. At some point, you're gonna have to get paid your worth, or you're gonna have to go get a job. That's how it works. So the goal is to get them to come over here and work. As much as we wanna get a lot of people to the States, we're trying to get them back here and tell stories and build studios, So that's the purpose.
I think that's amazing. Now that you've put that in context, coming back, basically now investing in this creative economy to say, let's tell our own stories. Now, as an African American, how would you say your perspective of where you are from was delivered or was told to you in stories, in narration, seeing as you live in LA, but you are African American? How would you say your perspective of who you are was told to you compared to when you were right here?
It was different. Like when I grew up, right, my last name, of course, is Okolie. I got picked on so much. They picked on my dad, and my dad died when I was younger, but got picked on so much, I appreciate it, that I started calling myself Okolie, like the Oakley glasses, because they couldn't pronounce it when I went to school. And after a while, I started appreciating my name and where I come from. And it was like my family picking on me as well, I started appreciating it, and now it's a trend. Afrobeat, being African is a trend. I mean, people are finding out they 1% Nigerian, and they putting the flag in their bio on Instagram.
I know, but I don't know if I'm okay with that, though.
I'm not either, right?
Are we trendy? Or this, for instance, I live in Lagos. I am a Nigerian woman. This is who I am. Fact. I am not an aesthetic to put on a bio. Fact. So my thing is...
And I'm not proud of that.
Of course.
But I'm saying we a trend, so now everybody want to join it.
Exactly.
But would they have been a Nigerian when you had to get picked on by your name and certain other things? They wouldn't.
Those times have changed, though. So in a way, I would even say that that's growth, right? That's growth. I mean, the fact that we've worked in our industries enough for people to be like, oh, you know what? I'm 2%, like you said, Nigerian, or 1% Nigerian. But sustainability, how do you think we can make that a lot more sustainable? Move away from being an aesthetic to building us, because we're building individuals now. People are coming to say, oh, I want to be affiliated with this culture, but you're leaving the environment impoverished.
Fact. I think us as Africans don't necessarily have to change because we've been the same. We've been telling the same stories for years. I feel like America has changed. The people in America has changed. My friends has changed. They don't have the same jokes they did when I was a kid. So I just feel like a lot of Americans have to evolve, and they're doing that. So I feel like us as a people, as Nigerians, don't have to change. We're doing exactly what we need to do. We've been talking the same, dressing the same, and guess what? Now they over there wearing the same clothes that we wear. So I feel like I don't think we're the problem, you know? But it is a gap, like I said, between the communities, because when I grew up, we was watching Roots and watching videos, and they was showing the poorest parts of Africa. So when I get over here and I see like we got drivers, servants, mansions, like villas, I'm like, wow, this is stuff that I didn't even know because they not teaching us that. You know, some of the Americans you can't blame because they didn't teach it. But education is free. You can also go research it.
Yeah.
So that's the gap where we gotta figure out how can we educate our people.
Do you think we're doing that already through our music and through our films, like the films that we're exporting, the things we're putting on Netflix? Do you think like we're already on that journey with the content that we're putting out?
Definitely with the content in the movies, more so music as well, because a lot of the artists are going back to their hometown, to their villages, showing people where they come from, also expressing the music. People are singing the songs, don't even know the language. They don't even know how to speak Igbo, but they just going along with the music. But I know and I see the vibration of Afrobeat music. Like when it's played in LA, the energy can be so low, and when they play the Afrobeat music, you know, they just dancing, man, and having fun. So it has a beautiful vibration to the music, you know, so I love it.
That's amazing. So as a musician, you know, how does it feel knowing that this is where you're from and Afrobeat is part of who you are?
It's beautiful. You know, I've been making music for a long time in engineering, but I do it to express myself. You know, I don't necessarily like the music industry, per se, just because it's a lot of things. You don't like
the music industry where?
In America. I mean, it's a lot. When I like the business side of things, so the industry on the business side is not really well, you know? So if I did continue to make music, definitely it would be independently. Same thing for as actors, right? I get paid with my corporation. A lot of actors don't do that with my S Corp. Why? So at the end of the year, I pay back my taxes when I want, and you don't come and take out a lot of money. You're paying me with your business, why can't I receive it as a business, you know? So we have to grow, man, and know money management, with finances. During that strike, a lot of people lost their houses.
Yeah, I remember
couldn't
the
take
whole
care of their
strike.
family. How are you making, excuse the numbers, how are you making $100K an episode and you losing your house and can't feed your family?
That's even great that some people were making that much money. I mean, speaking about the Hollywood strikes, you know, were you out for that, for the strikes as well? Is that something you participated in?
Yes.
You know, as an actor, I remember that a lot of people were coming out, putting out videos talking about the fact that, you know, they weren't even getting residual income on a lot of their work as well. And we got to really see a very dark side, especially for African-American actors. So talk to me about how that entire experience was, you know, from your own point of view.
It was tough. The last show I shot right before the strike was All American.
Okay.
Making good money, living the best life that I could live at that time. And then the next month after that, I don't know if it lasted for like a year or so, wasn't getting paid. Through Hollywood, wasn't getting paid. I have businesses outside of the industry, so I was okay. But I went out there, we walked, we was on strike, just listening to the stories of the actors that were struggling, man, and some of them found different paths. They went back home, they got jobs, never returned to acting, you know, because they just like, we give everything to this. We miss funerals, miss time away from our mom, our dad. This is time we can't get back for this industry, and you all treat us like this, you know? And it wasn't personal, but it's personal when you can't take care of your life and your family, you know? So the residuals and things I think have gotten better. It's gonna get even more better as we continue to learn more about finances and contracts and things like that, so. Yeah.
What would you say for someone who's looking to get into the industry and, you know, kind of find their footing, you know, what would you say is the easiest way to start their journey?
I think understand what you wanna do. If you wanna do theater or if you wanna do television and film. I didn't necessarily start in theater. I was watching Disney Channel and Cartoon Network, things like that growing up. And that's what I wanted to do. And when I got into Atlanta, I started doing extra work. I would say do extra work.
Extra work in film or just like to make money?
Do extra work in film. You can make money too, but you want the experience of being on a set, watching the producers, directors, seeing what they do. Now the difference between television and theater is more about movement. When you're watching them from that stage, you seeing movement. Television is about eyes. Because the minute you look at that screen, they looking at your eyes to see that emotion. You dig what I'm saying? So figure out what you want to do and what you want to bring to the table and know your why. If you don't have a why, you would take any type of role, you know? And I would say, believe in God, believe in something bigger than yourself, but know your why, because as long as you got that why, no matter what you go through, you know, you won't stop.
What was your why?
Losing my dad young, I looked at time differently. And that's why it took me so long to like travel and things, because I wanted this now so that my family can see me, see someone who's successful, but also know the next time my cousin or uncle, whoever wants to be an actor, they believe in them. Because when I said, they didn't believe it, but how do I expect them to believe it if nobody in the family ever did it? So now when someone come up to them and say, yo, I want to be an actor, I believe in you, I want to invest into you because Darone did it. You know, so that's my why, the young inspiration of the kids, just them seeing me come from poverty, come from low income areas, and to know how far I've gotten to where I am. It's just a blessing, you know? So
have you ever considered going into like your own production and stuff like that, like creating something that will be your own feature?
I didn't at first. All I ever wanted to do was act, and make some money, of course. But now I think I want to direct. You look at a lot of the actors now, they're directing. Dancing Idris, all of these guys are directing, man, because you're able to tell your story a lot more. As an actor, we only get to tell part of it because we have a director, we have a writer, we have a producer in our ear telling us to do this and do that and do that. As an actor as well, though, being able to tell a perspective from a writer, producer, and director, it's a collaboration.
It is.
It's a collaboration.
It's a very important one as well.
Exactly. I would tell writers and directors also take acting classes, because how can you direct me if you don't know what it's like to be me? You know? So getting some acting classes, understand both of us, because it's a collaboration. We need each other.
Now, I know that, you know, the system in Hollywood and Nollywood is almost slightly different in the sense that you work with agencies, you know, like to get jobs and all of that. But I think here it's more like, you know, people, you kind of need to just network, find your way around, get to meet the director who happens to just know somebody who knows somebody who wants you on the job. So, you know, it's a different ball game in terms of like getting hired for a job. So what was your first entry into the industry as a Hollywood actor? Yeah,
your network is your network. I didn't have anybody in the industry in my family. So when I was doing the extra work, I was getting connections through that. I started doing murder reenactment shows, like true stories that they were like reenacting and on like ID channel. I don't know if they show that over
here. They do. Oh, we used to do those things where they're like, oh, and then, you know,
like Fatal Attraction and things like that. And they don't pay a lot, but guess what? My goal was to do a couple of those shows, get a reel, put my reel together, and then submit it to an agency. Because you don't need like a lot of experience to do those shows. Most likely they'll put up a picture and say, if you look like this picture, then submit, and you can get it. You don't even need like a professional headshot. Just submit, and that's my advice too. I don't know if they shoot anything like that over here, but if you're in the States, do some of those shows, get a reel together, and then submit it to some agents. Another way to get an agency as well is doing talent shows, like going to do like a monologue.
Okay.
And theater plays as well sometimes. In LA, theater is not as big as New York, though.
New York, of course.
Because of Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah, so. I think that makes sense, because I find that you find more Broadway people in New York and you find more film people in LA. Now, you're here in Nigeria. You were recently filming. What was that about?
Oh, I wasn't filming here, but I went to the film village.
Okay.
And they was filming down there, and I had a meeting with a couple Nollywood actors, and they wanted to tell me their wants and needs, and I was shocked, but I understood, because what I've learned from Hollywood, you know, I can help a lot when it comes to the business side and my connections. And I hope I'm here forever, but if I'm not, I want to give this game out. You know, so everything I did in the industry and what I've learned don't go to waste. So necessarily I wasn't here filming, but I'm open and I'm available if anyone want to hire me, you know. I won't say it's cheap, but hey, I'm here.
So what's like, have you seen like movies you would say, this is a film I really thoroughly enjoyed?
Over here?
That you thoroughly enjoyed, that you just said to yourself, I really like this person, or I like how this person does their work, or something that really speaks to you here?
I like Jerry Amillo. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I think it's Jerry Amillo.
Jerry Amillo?
Yeah, I think I'm saying his name right. The one who I spoke to the other day. He reminds me of like Denzel a little bit, because he has this aura about him, like the way he walked, the way he talked. I'm not a big like technique actor. My acting is just experience and the way I grew up seeing certain things, and I bring it to camera. You got to watch acting classes, because acting classes can make you mechanical.
Yeah.
And when I met him, man, he just had a certain like confidence about him, the way he walked. And I love his projects, and I love what he's on. And we actually talked about working on some things together. He showed me around the whole studio, man, down there.
Where?
In Delta. It was a film village. I didn't even know it was so huge. I mean, they got hotels on the campus, so like actors can stay and go to sleep and wake up and film and everything. And I was like, I did not know this was here. Because my goal is to build like a film studio or bring an agency over here to help and connect. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow, you know, it's already happening. But of course,
I think bringing that agency, like you mentioned, like because again, you spoke about bridging the gap. So that agency would just be the connector. You know, like connecting this to this, bringing this over here, or bringing this over here, or merging story ideas to create one singular project that basically bridges that gap. So I think that agency.
And you can tell me, it seemed like a lot of people end up going to like the UK and getting agents and stuff like that, rather than coming to the States. Like it's a lot of Nigerian actors that are coming out of like London, and the schooling that they have over there is amazing. I've heard certain techniques. When they come to like speaking different dialects, they use candy in their mouth and certain things I was hearing. I was like, okay, this is how y'all getting these roles in America, yo. So I need to get over there. I haven't been over there yet. Yeah.
Well, it's been a great conversation, Darone. Thank you so much for coming over, and I'm really excited for what you're gonna do. I was trying to tell you about, you know, coming around in December, but you came a little too early. So hopefully,
you want to invite me back? I'll come back.
Well, I will not.
No,
invite
you already said it.
But
I'm coming back.
If you do come, I can assure you that the event calendar in like Nigeria for that period, like top notch.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna get a better. Well, no, that is inaccurate. You will get a better time in some other places, but in Africa, 100% in Nigeria.
I'll think about it.
You should.
I'll think
you should.
about it.
Well done, Darone. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely.